Hello there. I am so glad to see you tonight because, this is going to be a fun show. I have I've interviewed my guest tonight in the past, and he was so impressive. I think that he is one of the more genuine people I've met. He is a psychic, but that's not all. He is also he's a certified death midwife, and he is a content creator. He's the co-founder at Crooked Path Paranormal. He he does all kinds of stuff. He goes to the old Plodding jail often. He is the things that I have heard that he can do really impress me. But nothing really impresses me as much as the energy that he puts out, the caring and assertiveness pleasantly that he has. He's a great speaker. He's an educator. He's a medium, a Reiki Master, a witch, a hypnotist, which I think is cool. He's ordained. He's a spiritual counselor, and he's a paranormal investigator. He is he's a reader at the Magic Druid, and he's an author creator at the Paranormal Medium, and he is the psychic reader at the Fairfield County Infirmary. And probably I could go on and on and on and on about Christopher, but why don't we bring him in and you can see for yourself. Hey, Christopher.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. I just had the coolest moment listening to you say all that. I just had this moment where it's like I almost teared up with this thought of, God, I love my life. I do.
How could you not?
I do. And I authentically mean that. But hearing you introduce me, it just really connected in a big way. Like for a second, I almost teared up. I love my life.
Well, I think that you're pretty special, so I'm glad you have a life that you love.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? We should all be able to find that.
Absolutely, we should. And so apparently it's not that common. And I think that probably a lot of the times, and I'm going to be presumptive here, and you can correct me, but a lot of times people that seek the help that people like you have to offer are just not very pleased with where they are in life, or they feel like they're not on the right path. So they're struggling to find a way to get to where they do love their life. Would that be fair?
I would very much agree with that. And even if it's not so much that they're not on the right path, they're just stuck. They just don't know where to go next or how to get there. I connect with a lot of people who are stuck on their path.
What causes somebody to get stuck?
There can be a number of things. I think one of the biggest things, to be very, very honest, is those moments when we stand in our own way. So many people come to this awareness that something's just not serving them anymore. And when I say something, it can be anything. It can be a relationship, a friendship, a job. They know it's not serving them the same way. And instead of walking away from it to make room for something new and bigger and better, what do? They stay there. Why? Because it's familiar. They're comfortable with what's familiar. And sometimes there's just no room for growth when we allow ourselves to stagnate in what's familiar.
Well, that's very true. And I'm going to pull these armrests down because I'm going to be needing them because I'm going to be serious here. Just kidding. I'm never that serious. But, I have found myself, and it's almost like a fear-based stuck. And it's not a happy place to be. And I have friends that, to an extent, do what you do or have some of the gifts that you have. And I'll be like, I need help here. What is wrong?
Right.
And usually it's because I'm trying to force something to be the way that I think it should be. And then you can't do that, right? You have to go with the path you're supposed to be following.
Right. I find so often that when fear is the factor that's holding us back or keeping us stuck. I mean, if we ask ourselves, what are we afraid of? So often the answer is failure. And then if we just backtrack a little bit, how many times have we encountered that? And how many times have we pushed through it and proven ourselves, not only to those around us, that might be less important. How often have we proven ourselves to ourselves? What's there left to prove? I mean, why is there still a need for us to prove ourselves to ourselves or anyone else? Just go, just do it.
But it's hard sometimes. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to hold anybody else up as an example here because I like my friends and want to keep them. But we're going to use, I'll take the brunt of this. But, there's case in point. I have 3 books that I've been in the process of writing for 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I will sit there and I'll work on one and I'll get some real progress made. And then it's like, oh, I better work on this other one. And it's so annoying. And I know it's annoying because I'm the one that's annoyed. So it's just like, because the worst thing that could happen is that nobody reads it, right?
Right.
The best thing that can happen is everybody reads it. And, there's no losing scenario with that. And I don't know why that's still something that I'm just like, I can't pull that trigger on. And it's so frustrating. I will pull the trigger on it. I just haven't yet.
Right.
And I don't know why I'm letting that hold me back. So,
I get it about writing 3 books, though. I'm doing exactly that. I am writing 3 books at the same time. And 2 of them are unfolding in real time, which is why I'm jumping around as much as I am, because there's just layers that keep unfolding in 2 of them. I need to focus my energy there before I drop this, before I forget about this. Then that'll settle down. I'll go over here for a while. And then something will happen over here. It's like, I have to go back over here.
Yes. And I'm just like, it really is. It's so, because I don't have things really. I mean, I have, certainly for one of them, everything is in place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is fear of failure. I really think that, but I don't really see where the failure would be that defined. I mean,
right.
If it gets completed, I've succeeded.
You've succeeded 100%.
Yeah. So that's going to be one of the things that I work on this week while I'm out of town. But no
Being
dogs, no
is
husband.
a great time to work on those projects. I get it. I've been out of town for 10 days and I've gotten a lot of writing done. It's been amazing.
Well, and just for the record, I wish you had held on to your rein. Because it's coming
I'm glad it's out of here because tomorrow we're filming. So I'm really glad it's out of here.
I'm glad it's not there too then. I'll take that one for the team. Well, we've spoken before and I had such a good time with you. But a lot of people may not remember it. I may not have been listening at that time. But can you tell a little bit about your development into the man that you are now? When you knew that this was who Christopher is, and when did you first realize that you were psychic or had these abilities? Because you're more than psychic.
Right. I first of all, I've always been fascinated by the other side, by anything dark, by anything that makes most people turn away in fear. That's where I'm drawn. I mean, I was the kid hanging out at the abandoned mausoleum down the street with his friends, doing seances in the park at like 10 years old.
Oh, that's precocious.
That's just who I've always been. There's never been any way around it. But it was around that same time that I just referenced, 10 years old, when I started having dreams of people passing away, and those dreams were coming true within 3 days. Even people who were young and they were healthy, and there's no reason to think about them passing away, they were passing away within 3 days.
Wow.
So that shift really started to happen around 10 years old. It was a very big time for me.
How did you cope with that as a 10-year-old?
I didn't. I really kept it to myself and just went about life as normal. I think because of my constant draw to the other side and my interest in everything that everyone else turned away from in fear or disgust, I think that actually kept me rooted in all of this. It's so weird. It's so hard to explain. But
I can imagine.
It was like this sense of just, okay, this is all a part of it. This is a part of what roots me here at home in my darkness, so to speak. That's a really weird statement, but I'm going to stand by it.
Well, it's not that weird. I mean, because we all are, light and dark, yin and yang.
For sure.
We all have these sides, and more than just those. But still, how many times did it happen before you became aware that that was a thing for you?
It was by the third time that I really started to realize there is a much deeper meaning here than just simply having a knowledge of this person passing away. And in one of those three instances, this is really also the first time someone who'd passed had come to me.
Okay.
So there's this sensation of, you're at their funeral, here's their body, they're in the casket, but they're here and they're speaking to me.
Oh, wow. At 11.
Around that same time as well. And, ironically, this particular person who came to me that way, this was the person who gifted me my first Ouija board. So it's almost like she knew that she was going to be furthering that for me.
That's interesting.
Isn't it? When I look back on little things like that. And one of the books I'm writing is about my life and just the way I've made the decisions I've made, how I've landed where I have, the work that I do. So things like that are going to be in there too.
How close is that one to finished? Because I want that one.
That's the closest one to being done.
Good deal. Well, you'll have to let me know when it's finished, because I think that that's so interesting, because when the abilities that I had young, but I didn't know that they were that, because my grandma was always say that she was, into all this and very interesting. I have a cousin that I didn't know about. She's a fourth cousin who lives in South Alabama, who found me on Facebook and said, I'm your fourth cousin on this side, and we do the same thing. And I just want to talk to you. And so that was interesting, because it was on my grandma's side of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's pretty interesting. And she even looks like me too. It's so funny. But she's much more creative in a different way than I am. So I'm not the artsy craftsy girl, and she is so that girl. And hi, Keena, if you're watching this. But I just found that interesting, because do you find that this is genetic sometimes?
I really haven't found that yet. I mean, there's no one in my immediate family who does what I do. I've got one family member that has expressed interest toward what I do, and I think has done a little bit with it herself. But other than that, nobody immediate that I can connect to. Even as I'm diving back and going through previous generations, it's like, I've not found that link yet.
What about the person that gave you the Ouija board?
She was a friend of the family. She wasn't any sort of blood connection.
Interesting.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
It's kind of crazy. But I just had wondered, because the New Age stuff, my grandma lived by Jean Dixon, and she loved all this stuff, and she was so talking about haints and everything. She's very modern, but still loved that word. Mm-hmm. And hilarious. But it was very interesting to me, because that's probably who I'm the most like out of all of the women in my family. And so I thought, well, on my dad's side of the family, everybody was much too Southern Baptist to acknowledge things happening.
Right.
And that's not slamming any religion. That's just that the belief system doesn't really allow you to acknowledge that you're having these experiences. In my experience, talking to people that I know have them and, you know, can't say they do
Right.
or can't put it down to that. But I just think that it's kind of fun to sit there and look at some of the stuff. And then I talk to somebody like you, and it's like, I recognize some of these things. And the first time we spoke, I had that happen. You know, we were talking about some of the readings that you do, the places that you go, and that kind of thing. And I was like, oh, my aunt did that. Or, you know, oh, that, you know, and but they would never say that that's what this was.
Right.
It was just, you know, they wouldn't even talk about a gift of prophecy.
Right.
I mean, you can't call it that, but that's exactly what they had. And it's a good time to sit back and look at that, because I know when you have people come up to you and want a reading, or I'm assuming that when you have somebody come up to you and want a reading, that they already know what they want the answer to be. Is that true?
Yes and no. I'm surprised by the number of people who come up to me and they want a reading and they have no idea what they want.
Interesting.
I'm astounded by the number of people that really don't have any idea what they want. And I always want them to give me a little something. I don't want the answers. I want to give you the answers. But I want to know what intention I should put into this. What thread should I be reaching for to give you what you need?
That's interesting. Because
I found that I've been able to overcome that barrier with people a little bit by explaining to them that when I ask that question, what do you want me to focus on? Or sometimes I'll even say, what do you want for us to focus on? It's a two-way street. I'll let them know that I'm not likely, if I'm using cards, to use a traditional spread. I would much rather create a spread for them based on what they tell me. So if they tell me they'd like to focus on this, this, and this, I'm going to create something here that looks at this, this, and this, and then we'll see where it all meets in the middle. So sometimes it gets people to open up a little bit more when I tell them, you know, whatever you tell me is what I'm going to use to create what we're going to look at. I'm not going to try to stuff you in a box by using a traditional spread. Not that there's anything wrong with traditional spreads. They're wonderful, and there's reasons they've been used over and over again by so many people. But I've just found that I connect to people best when I'm able to create.
that's neat.
I love to get that opportunity to be creative, because, you know, I'm not an artistic person. Like you were mentioning, that's not me, to work with my hands and do that sort of thing. To lay down a beautiful and intricate tarot spread that nobody's ever going to see again because I just created it, that I can do. I can get artsy in that sense.
That is so cool. I've had 2 tarot readings, but one, it was a reader in New Orleans, and she was just determined that she was going to do it. And I was like, I don't have any more money. I can't pay you anything else. This is all I have with me. And she was like, well, did it. And I'm like, I don't have, because I got a reading from her. And then she was like, well, I'm just going to do a tarot. And I was like, I don't have any more money. Seriously, I can't. It was on the, on the square in New Orleans. And that was what she did. And so I don't think she believed me. She did when I walked away, but it was the strangest thing, because the person that did a reading for me, that we were killing time because my plane was delayed. Her plane, yeah. Anyway, at an event, and she did. Oh, the guy had the house on Loch Ness, big time. I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah, I'm not going to come up with a name there.
No. Crowley. Anyway, he was. Hey, Jeremy. He was like a big time. If anybody can remember this name, let me know. But Aleister Crowley. You know, I'm going to have to Google that here in just a minute.
Yeah,
but anyway,
the house reference didn't get me. That didn't send me there. So that could be who you're talking about, but that didn't send me there.
But anyway, she was a big avid follower, and we were at a UFO conference, and there were all these crises and stuff, and so to kill time, she was like, "Why don't I just do a reading for you?" And I was like, so she laid it all out, and it was just like. And then she did the whole hands thing, and I did not know what that was. And she was very offended that I didn't. But, I've had 2 real readings from people that neither was intentional. But it's so interesting when somebody just arbitrarily does that, because it can be a violation. If they're like the girl in New Orleans was very intentional that she was going to do that reading.
Right.
Even though I told her I couldn't pay her. And so when I didn't pay her and I was walking across the square and I heard my name and it was loud, and I had not given her my name. So I turned around and she was looking at me like, and I just walked back over and said, "Did you need me?" And she was just like, "What?" I was like, "I heard you. So that is my name. What did you need?" And so that blew her away. And, these are the 2 people that I've had read for me. And so when I know what you do, because you are so professional and you are so genuine, you haven't read for me. I'm going to put that out there. You have read for people I know.
Right.
And everybody that has had a reading with you is just like, "Oh, Christopher, you've got to talk to Christopher." And I'm like, that's how I found you the first time.
Right.
And so, and they were so right, because you are all that. So I'm so glad that you're here this time too. And I guess what I'm saying is I didn't connect, and I was blocking to a degree with both of those people because I wasn't sure of the intent. And I'm very jealous of my energy. I do try to protect that.
I love that for you. I do. I love that.
Well, people are not always your friend.
Right.
Right. Even when they look like they want to be. So I learned that the awkward way too. But, I just am curious. Do you come across people, because most people come to you and say, "Christopher, please, I want a reading," and do you ever have people that once you start, they become reticent? Can people block you? Can they shield against you?
They can. I think people do have that ability. I feel like I can work around it. That's how I'm going to word that. I'm not going to say bust through it. I'm going to say work around it.
Well, but because that is, and I'm not saying that people would be afraid or be jealous of their energy around you, because they do approach you. They know who you are and what you're doing. But sometimes I have seen people become uncomfortable in a reading. If it's too close to home, if it's being too real. And what do you do in that circumstance? Do you come across that? I guess that's what I was really asking.
Well, I have, and usually I'll just put my hypnosis voice out there. And if I can get them to just drop their shoulders, take a deep breath, and relax, it all just evaporates.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
If I
They
can
wouldn't
just
be
get them to
there.
relax, and usually my tone of voice will do it.
Yeah. I like that. Your hypnotic voice.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
works. It's not threatening, and it just automatically puts them into that state of relaxation that they need.
Well,
Probably something they needed from the moment they got to my table.
probably. You know, it's I really think that what I'm just blown away by what I'm told about you. And if anybody is listening to this and you have a need, this is somebody that you want to reach out to, because he does do the psychic fairs at the old Paulding jail that are closed for the winter at this point, I think.
Actually,
But
we have a
for,
psychic fair coming up this coming weekend, Saturday,
do
Sunday.
you really? Oh,
It's coming
yay.
up this coming weekend.
Well, we need to push that then, because I thought Shelley had already closed down.
Nope,
So,
we will be out there this coming weekend for the psychic fair, Saturday, Sunday, and the following weekend, Halloween weekend, Shelley and I are running public hunts Friday night, Saturday night, and I'll be leading a seance in the basement at midnight, both nights.
oh my gosh, I want, oh, we need to talk after you do your seance in the basement,
Yeah, I'd love
because
that.
that basement is so fantastic. I did, Shelley's brother
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do, we were doing a public investigation. One of my girlfriends from Columbus was there with me. And she had never been involved in an investigation at all. So it was fun. There was so much. And so Toby was like, well, let's build an energy bridge. And I'm like, you don't want that. You know.
No.
And he was like, well, I do. And so I did that. And you should ask Shelley about that sometime,
I will do
because
that. I'll
he
see her this
was,
weekend. So yeah.
it was, yeah. And it was very effective, very effective. And so it was cool. So I didn't know I could do that. And it was so cool. But it did allow the energy, like, you know, if somebody wanted to come forward, they would have been able to. And
That place is like a powerhouse when it comes to energy. It's
it
unbelievable.
is. Well, tell people a little bit about what you do there when you go to the psychic fairs, because I think that's very cool, but I'd like you to describe it.
I'll be offering tarot mediumship, not past life this time, just tarot mediumship and Reiki sessions. That's what I'll be offering.
Well, my best friend is Lori Dorsey.
I love Lori.
I love Lori too. And I'm going to be seeing her Monday, so I'm so excited about that. Well, actually, I'm going to be seeing her Tuesday. But yeah, she is Shelley, or who have told me about what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, oh, I so need to get back up to Paulding. Hi, April. And when you're going to be there, because I couldn't come to the Christmas. I could not get up for the Halloween party. It's the first, you know, I love going up there for those. They actually got me. Actually, nobody got me to. I got in the mood to sing karaoke, and it was so funny. But until the second one, when my voice was tired, and that was not pretty.
I'll put on a concert the whole night myself. Once I start, there's no stopping it.
I had no idea it was so much fun, right?
It's a blast.
Like, oh my gosh. And yeah, if you get a chance to go to the old Paulding jail, whether it's for an investigation or a psychic fair or anything that Shelley Robinson puts on, you have got to go and do that, because it is the best haunted place that I know, that I have had so many experiences at. And
it's phenomenal.
You will not be disappointed if you go there.
But my first time there, I had something happen that in the moment truly scared me. and that doesn't
I
happen.
did too. What was yours?
And it was delightful. I mean, I love this because I don't scare in that capacity. Normally, the
Right.
only thing that scares me is if there's bats flying at me. Then I fall apart.
They're pretty aggressive.
They are. We were up in the second floor cell block, and I'd had this moment where I started to connect to somebody else's energy. I had my flashlight in my hand, and I'm like hitting it in my hand, and I'm humming this tune and thinking, what is this tune? I don't know what this is. It's like, okay, this isn't my energy. Is this a guard walking back and forth here with the whatever's in his hand? I don't know. So we come down to the end where the showers are, and I'm looking in the shower, and I'm like, there is someone standing there. There is a figure standing in that shower. It's like, since they're in the shower, I'm going to back up and give them their space. This isn't appropriate for me to connect right now. So we go back down to the other end, and I see this figure step out of the shower and move against the wall. Like, okay, that's cool. So I've got two friends standing behind me, and they're both shorter than I am. So I don't know if they can see this. So I'm trying to describe it to them. And then the figure starts to move forward along the wall. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. This is great. So I just about tell them it's starting to move forward when it lunged. It lunged dramatically and quickly forward. And I was like, nope, I'm out. And I actually turned around and walked out. It was the coolest thing because I don't react that way. It was refreshing. So when I stepped out of there, right outside of that cell block is the infirmary. And ironically, that's what I now use as my reading room for our psychic fairs there. But when I stepped out of there, I looked around and I'm like, wait a minute. That's the room I'm sleeping in tonight. Everybody else was going to be up in the VIP suite. Really? Like, oh. So we went about the rest of our investigation, and before bed, I deliberately went back into the cell block. I walked around, made peace, because when I have a moment like that, it's not going to own me. It's not going to define me. I'm going to take control of it. Well, then it was time to go to bed. So I'm laying there in the infirmary on my cot, and there's just all these noises coming out of the cell block. It's like, I'm going to sleep now. And then I hear someone walk out and into the room. It's like, no, I'm going to sleep now. So I wake up at 4 o'clock, and then 5, and then 6, and then 7. And even at 7, I said, no, I'm going to sleep until my alarm goes off at 7:30. So I rolled over on my side. When I rolled over on my side, my cot made a noise. The empty cot then made the same noise.
Did not. Really?
It was epic.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
never experienced anything like that anywhere else. That was my first time at the jail. But when that figure...
Ever?
Nothing quite like that. I mean,
Wow.
when that figure lunged at me, I was just like, nope, I'm out of here. And since then, I've slept in that cell block. I've made complete peace.
Sure.
Complete peace. Unless it's bats, I won't be intimidated.
Well, I my first time at the jail, I had my biggest experience there. And I pissed off the whole first floor cell block. And it was educational. We'll just leave it there. It was sounds of the doors slamming, and they weren't moving. I'm standing there looking at them. Shelly's in there with me. The banging, and I was on the air with my producer at the time, and he's like, I can hear them, so I'll let you know if you need to get out. It was not much longer after that, and he was like, okay, time to go pick up your computer and leave that area. And we had a talk. The spirits and Shelly and I had a talk with the portal and resolved it. But they are very real there.
Yes.
And they have, at that time, like I said, that was my first time ever there. And they did not know me. And I'm like, I'm here because Shelly wanted me to be here. I'm doing a show. I'm promoting the jail. We're going to let people know so that she can, have people come through and take care of you by taking care of the jail. This is to
Right.
help you. And some guy through the portal goes, really? I was like, yes, really? I didn't come up here for my health. But yeah, I was already ill. And they were okay. And I was kind of obnoxious at that point because I'm like, no, I'm lying to you, but we all became friends. We all got, comfortable, and they've actually, a friend of mine was there as talent for a public hunt, and I was supposed to be there and I could not go. And so when they were down in that cell block, they called me. And, Rick was like, well, where they know you. I said, they know, they're all through the jail. They go wherever they want to. I mean, they're not locked in. And so they started communicating with me because I just said, hey guys, it's Kat. I'm sorry I can't be there, but these are my friends and they're here to do this and that and the other. And they started getting K2 activity responding to me. And it wasn't while I was talking, it was responding. And so that was, two of my friends from California, counting Rick, 3 of my friends from California were there. Lori was there. And I was so disappointed that I couldn't be there. And because I love that jail. But
Me too. It's like it calls you home, doesn't it?
yes, it's very homey. And it's, I thought after that initial experience that I was going to be afraid of it. And I can't be afraid of it because I love it. And I feel like there's a connectivity to the spirits there.
Right.
And I haven't been back now in about 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And
It's a long time.
It is too long. And I haven't seen Shelley in that long either. And I dearly love hugging her. I think she's one of the best people on the planet.
She is,
and
for sure.
Yeah. And she cares so much about her spirits.
She does.
She has single-handedly managed to keep that jail going. And, she saved it from probably being torn down.
Right.
Because it was going at auction. And, and there it is. It's the best place to go ghost hunt just about in the whole country. So
recently,
it's because of her.
One of her spirits from the jail came through for me at a different location in a different city.
Really? Oh, that's so cool.
The most interesting part was probably the moment I figured out how this happened. I wasn't even concerned with the why. It's like, all right, this is really out there, but I can accept this. It was when I got to the how. It's like, okay. So I was at the Gill House in Galion, Ohio.
Okay.
When I do an Estes session, if I'm the one going under, it's no different than if I channel a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gone. I am gone. I mean, I have to wear a neck pillow because I just slump over. I'm gone. And afterward, I don't remember a thing about what's said. When I connect to spirits who are familiar, those who see me do this say that my posture shifts in a certain familiar way for familiar spirits. The vocal quality is the same for certain familiar spirits.
So you're channeling.
Correct. I am 100% channeling when I do an Estes session. It's no different than if I just sit here and say I'm going to channel versus if I put on the headphones and blindfold. Same result. So we're at the Gill House. We're filming. I'm under. I've got the headphones. I've got the blindfold. I'm slumped over in my chair. And grumpy old Bloomer Gill comes through, one of the original family members of the house.
Yeah.
And all he wanted was to be left alone. He wanted peace and quiet, and he wanted to look out the attic window, but he can't get peace and quiet. Why can't he get peace and quiet? Because there are 4 random children who've taken up residence in the attic. They're not.
There are.
to the house, but they're there. And the next thing you know, a little boy named Jack comes through. And there's this conversation going back and forth between Bloomer and Jack. It's like, I'm speaking as Bloomer. I'm speaking as Jack. I'm speaking as Bloomer.
Oh my
I'm speaking as
gosh.
Jack. And then finally, there was a shift in energy. And my buddy Noah, the other founder of Crooked Path Paranormal, who was there, noticed the shift in energy. And he says, okay, now who's here? And this cheerful little female voice comes through. Audrey.
Did not. Oh my gosh.
And he's familiar with Audrey. He's been to the jail. So he's standing
Yeah.
there going, what? Why? And her response was, she's come to teach the children how to play hide and seek. I can get behind this. She loves to play hide and seek. I've taught her how to play hide and seek. She tells other teams when I'm not there that she wants to play board because we play on the Ouija board. She counts on the Ouija board.
Oh, this is cool.
So that's what she calls hide and seek. She wants to play board. So she's come through at the Gill House to teach these 4 random children how to play hide and seek. So they'll leave the attic and give Bloomer some peace. So we get out of the session.
This is hilarious.
We get out of the session. I'm no longer in channel mode. I'm now facilitating hide and seek between Audrey and Noah so she can show the other children how to do this. And I'm like, what? Why? What? How? I don't get this. It finally clicked. Someone very closely associated with the jail gifted me a black mirror years ago, and that mirror was in my bag. She comes through the glass.
Holy wow.
That was of all of that insanity. That was the moment, the realization, the mirror is what did it, where just even my jaw dropped. Like, what?
Well, that person that's very intricately involved with the jail does love her scribing.
Yes.
And she does love the mirrors.
Yes, she does.
And they're very effective for her.
Yes, and I love her.
Absolutely. Me too. So she is it's really funny because her knowledge is so vast, right?
Yes.
And so when she teaches me, a lot of times she doesn't even realize, I think, that she is. And I'm just like, really? Really? How did that make you feel? Because to me, some of that is mind blowing.
Right.
And so, like the scribing, I'm just like, oh, what a cool thing. I get educated all the time. I did not grow up fully immersed in this. And I mean, I'm 63. So it's a whole different experience for me sometimes.
Right.
And the scrying is really interesting. But I do not have any doubt that I know which mirror Audrey used to get to yours. And because I'm sure they're connected.
Oh, I'm sure
Don't
of it.
you think?
Oh,
I mean,
I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I'll
But
tell
how
you
interesting.
I'll tell you another interesting tidbit about Audrey that we still haven't quite figured out how this worked. So I was leaving the Magical Druid in Clintonville, Ohio. I just finished a Reiki session. I used a pendulum. I put the pendulum back in its bag, put the bag back in my tarot bag, and drive over to the Fairfield County Infirmary in Lancaster, Ohio. We're navigating our night there, and I'm like, I need my pendulum. I'm going to run out to the car. I go out to the car. There's the tarot bag. I open the tarot bag. No sign of the pendulum. It's gone.
Oh, wow.
Gone. 2 months later, I'm sitting at the jail. We had just finished a session in Audrey's room,
Mm-hmm.
and I had used a pendulum. And when I was done, I put everything away, and somebody looked at me and said, "Did you leave your pendulum on the desk behind you?" And I said, "No, I put it back in my bag. Look, here it is." And it was in the bag. And she's
Right.
like, "Well, what's that behind you? That wasn't there before." What? I turn around. It's my pendulum that had disappeared 2 months earlier from 3 hours away.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you that doesn't surprise me, but I think that's so cool.
It's epic. It's so cool.
It is epic.
So we've gifted her own pendulum that she can keep.
In self-defense, yes.
Right. And it's even more interesting to me that the one that disappeared, I acquired that one at Lilydale, one of my favorite places on the planet.
Wow. Did you train there?
No, I just love it there.
I haven't been yet.
It's
I've been close and I couldn't get there that day.
It's like coming home. I was out that way in March for an event at the Wildwood Sanitarium. And coming home, I'd said to the person I'd driven with, "We need to stop at Lilydale." She's like, "They're closed." I'm like, "No, you can still get on the property." She's like, "It's 20 degrees. I'm like, "I don't care."
Doesn't matter.
I can't be this close and not go. I'll die. It's such a special place.
Yeah.
Really cool place.
Did you feel that connectivity stronger when you actually got there?
Yes.
Or was
Yes.
it just validation of what you had previously felt?
Oh, no, I felt it so much more strongly when I got there. The first time I went, I was actually asked to go with a group from Cleveland. I went with a bus trip, and I was offering readings on the bus to and from.
That's fun.
When we got there, I didn't know any of these people on the trip, so I just went my own way. And I just had a whole day running loose and wild and free and feral at Lilydale by myself.
Oh, wow.
And I had such incredible transformative experiences in those woods and by that lake, just incredible meditative experiences. When I got back to the bus, someone said to me, "We didn't see you all day. Are you okay? Did you have a good day?" And I'm like, "I just had the best day of my life."
That's so cool. That is. You know, I have some friends who trained there,
Oh,
and I just think that would be just the epitome of a great time.
that is on
And
my list. That is something that I will do.
so we have April shared. April is a busy mom and a teaching professional and a very cool chick. And she has her cousin, who is a dear friend of mine. That's how we met. Has incredible gifts too. And April said that she had a dream last night about a boy spirit traveling from multiple places, and she saw tunnels between the spaces and saw the boy climbing through them. And would tunnels be like channels?
They certainly could be, or even energetic pathways that connect places that one would think wouldn't be connected. That's something I'm working on right now. Actually,
Really?
the whole idea of tunnels connects into something I'm working on right now. So I'm going to file this away in my brain and hang on to it.
Well, I'll tell you that when I have people on, April especially, but a lot of people in chat will come through with something like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like, oh, well, just in case you didn't know if this needed validation or not, I'm going to give you a little bit anyway. So that's kind of fun. I love what
That's
I do.
great.
I love my job. But, I think it's interesting that spirit connects regardless of distance like this. And like Audrey coming to where you were when it was no place near her. And I mean, really and truly, she doesn't generally leave the jail except to go to Jenna's.
Right.
So
Right.
You know, to me, that's really interesting that she found her way to you
It
and
was
with a mission.
so unexpected. And of course, I'm hearing about it like third person, because when I was channeling, I wasn't aware. So as I'm being told about this, I mean, I could just feel the expression on my face when Noah said, "Oh yeah, Audrey came through." I'm like, what? I mean, huh?
Well, I know that would blow me away. Like I said, I know where she usually goes, and that to me just blows me away. But and April said that she's going to send me her entire dream. It's too long to put up there, and that so far you've touched on 3 points of it. So
I would love to see more.
I'll share it with you.
Thank you.
But that's one of the things that I find interesting, and I want you to tell me if this is something that you see a lot, because we have touched on this a little bit. When you are out of the normal realm of your thing, like being at Fairfield and Audrey shows up, or is it frequent that spirit travels to you? I don't know. I don't know that that's the best way to phrase that, but I think it covers what I'm trying to go for. They can find you regardless, I guess is what I'm asking.
It's either becoming more frequent or I'm just noticing it more.
Okay. Because
I'm astounded the number of times, there's a location that's challenged me for some time now. I'm still working through some things there. The first time I ever went to that location was to go back with a family who had a horrific experience there, and they wanted to more or less face what happened to them. I've had spirits from that location come through elsewhere. And when I first made the connection that that's who it was, there's a spirit in this location where the family had the horrific episode that's known to open doors, like turn knobs and open doors, and the door just swings open. And I'd been sitting in a completely different location that I'd been many, many times and watched that happen. I watched a doorknob turn and a door swung open. And I didn't immediately think about it until later on the name came through. Like 2 hours later, the name came up. It's like, what? Wait, no, why? It's happening more and more, or I'm noticing it more and more.
Could be both.
Right.
That it's happening more and more, so it's more in your face.
Right. And often when it does happen, I mean, this was an exception with Audrey. She was just coming through to do something cool and to help out. Usually it's when something is wrong within the location. Something is unsettled. Someone's in need of assistance or help.
Spirits.
Yes. More often than not. I find that quite often when there's some sort of energetic disturbance, the spirits will make their way to me and ask me for help. I guess this is why I carry the license plate I do. The license plate of my car is Tangina. That's my actual.
That does not surprise me.
That is my actual state license plate. I've had that plate in 2 different states. I'll never be rid of it.
I love that.
Me too. She's my idol.
Yes. That's very cool.
That's kind of the role I've stepped into. That's kind of what my life has become. And it's okay because it's been one great adventure.
I think that you are a great adventure. Not only having them, but I think that what you do with connecting spirit with the people that they're looking for, who may not be able to get it themselves. Okay.
Right.
To me, that's it's not soul rescue. It is connecting, although I know that you probably do that too, but it's more like being able to help them help who they love.
Right.
Is I think that's so special. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that that's what your skill set, no matter who has that set, that's something that's a big, hairy deal, because spirits still care about us,
They do,
and if
100%.
so, do you feel like that even if the right way to phrase this, even if they're not, even if even if the person that's still here feels like they parted on bad terms, that that love doesn't dissipate, that even if there was anger and stuff, that's transcended.
I feel
And so
that
that's where you get
often.
that.
And, so often I find that the spirit seems to have come to a place of understanding, or they've learned a lesson, or they've come around to realize what they could have done differently, and they want to express that now.
Okay.
That's a beautiful thing to witness, when a spirit comes through for someone, and it's someone I don't know the backstory, and I tell them, that this person was wrong about this. They want you to know they were wrong about this. They should have done this instead. They're sorry for this. And there's these specific things. It really is a beautiful thing to see.
I can only imagine.
I try to be so careful about things like that when I'm in like a gallery setting with many, many people. I really try to filter what's coming and what I feel like I shouldn't be throwing out there, because some of the things that come just feel like they're so deep and so personal and so painful. And the last thing I want to do is hit someone with something like that in a group setting. So I really have to try to be careful when I do the gallery sessions to keep certain things off the table. And I guess I just let my intuition guide me on what's okay and what's not to throw out there.
Well, I think that's important. I think that I've been in gallery readings where things were just thrown out there, and it was uncomfortable for everybody in the room too, because the person was so affected that it was for.
Right.
And, even good things should be addressed after, or, later.
Right.
I think, because in one instance, the girl that the reading was for was sitting behind me. We became great friends, and, but it was very personal and very hard for her.
Right.
And so that has to be something that's really difficult in your job.
It can be. Did I ever tell you about the time this did I ever tell you okay, I'll compose myself. Did I ever tell you about the time something came through for Shelley in the middle of a gallery?
No.
Oh my God. So I've got a limited number of spots in the basement of the jail, just 13 tickets. We wanted it to be super intimate for those who bought tickets. So Shelley did not come down. She did not participate. And I'm in the middle of this session, and I've got someone over here. We just brought their grandmother through, and we're crying, and it's beautiful. And I stop and I'm like, I'm seeing a brown bowl. What's with the brown bowl? Oh, this is Shelley's brown bowl. She's not down here. She's misusing the brown bowl.
Uh-oh.
And at this point, I just looked at someone. I'm like, I'm giving you a task. Please help me remember when we're done to ask Shelley about the brown bowl. So we go upstairs and she didn't have to remind me. I was right on it. I look at Shelly. I'm like, what's with the brown bowl? And her eyes get huge. She's like, what did you just say? And I'm like, the brown bowl. Apparently, you're misusing the brown bowl. And she's like, who told you that? And I thought, that's a good question, because I never even took the time to discern where that came from. It was just so out of nowhere. And then I felt it for a second. I'm like, your mother. This was your mother's brown bowl. You're misusing your mother's brown bowl.
Oh, dear.
Apparently, this was her mother's baked bean bowl.
Yep.
And she used this bowl for baked beans every holiday. And Shelly does not make those baked beans. She is not using the bowl for that purpose. She's using it for other things. And her mother's very upset that it's being used for something other than baked beans.
And that would be her mother. That would totally be her mother.
She was so mad. She's yelling at me like, you bring her back here. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. I can't just like reach up and grab her and pull her. No. I think she said what she needed to say. She's done now. She
got her point across.
She absolutely made her point. She pushed the button.
And the message was delivered.
Right. And then Shelly said something along the lines of she was going to start feeding the cats out of that bowl. She was so upset.
And you know what? She may still be doing that.
She might be.
Because she is not shy or quiet.
I've had so many just unbelievable things come through galleries. You know, sometimes when I do a gallery, I'll do a segment where I just sit with my eyes closed and I just word vomit. And sometimes I'll say something and I'll go, all right, I'm going to set this to the side and I feel like I'm going to come back to it. And then later I'll come back to it. I'll add a piece. Like, all right, I'm going to set it to the side again. Then I move on, start talking about something else. So one particular gallery, I remember saying, Margaret's here. And then I paused and I'm like, all right, I'm going to set that to the side. And then I moved on. And a little while later, I'm like, Margaret, handmade blankets. I'm going to set that to the side. Moving on. One more time, I come back to it. I'm like, Margaret, but her name is Marguerite.
Okay.
And that was the piece that put it all together for the skeptic son in the audience. Everybody mispronounced his mother's name. So she made sure I got it wrong first.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I could go back and correct it to give him that extra layer. And the hand blankets that she'd made had been handed to him very recently by a family friend. So she made sure that I got that name wrong so I could correct it. And it would be that piece where he couldn't sit there and go, no, it's not her. I think it was the same. I think it was the same gallery where I'd set something to the side. I sat for a second and then I scream at the top of my lungs, Yahtzee, just at the top of my lungs. And I'm like, what? No. I was like, all right, we're going to set that to the side, moving on. And then I'm talking about rocks or something. And then out of nowhere, I'm just like, Judge Judy. I move on again.
Oh my gosh.
Well, there was someone there who always said that after both of her parents were gone, they're in heaven together watching Judge Judy and playing Yahtzee.
Oh my gosh. That's precious.
I'm so glad somebody owned that, because I would have been sitting there for the rest of my life going, why? Why did I scream Yahtzee? Why did I scream Judge Judy?
Well, you know what? It is what it is, right?
For sure.
When you get it, you get it.
Certain things like that, though, it's always nice to know for sure where it's coming from, because those aren't impressions I get every day.
Yeah. Well, I could imagine.
And I feel bad for the people in the gallery, too, because I know when I yelled Yahtzee, I practically jumped out of my chair. I mean, I screamed. I got excited, just like you would if you rolled a Yahtzee.
So you were actually actively channeling that person.
I
That
was.
is so cool.
And I mean, one minute I'm just calm and mellow, and out of the chair.
How did they react?
I think a few people screamed because it was so unexpected. I had my eyes closed. When I do that segment where I just word vomit what's coming, I always like to have my eyes closed because I don't want to see reactions.
That's interesting.
Then we cycle back later on. I'm like, okay, let's talk about what may have connected.
Okay.
I like to always have that segment where I talk just freely what's coming, and I don't know what's connecting, what's not. I'm not looking at anyone.
Right. Do you, if you have a gallery, and what's the largest gallery that you've done?
I don't like any more than 30. I've done up to 30.
That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people. That's not ideal for me. Ideal, I like to limit to 10. I
I
want an
think that would be
opportunity for every person to get something.
tough to do with 30.
Right. And when I do a gallery too, I do a segment where I go around individually and I look each person in the eyes and I speak to them individually, telling them what's coming to me. So there's the word vomit segment, and then later I get to that, the individual connection. I like the smaller group because I want everybody to get something from me.
Have you had a group where there were people that didn't?
Sometimes in the larger groups, it ends up being that way.
I
But
think that would be very disappointing.
I think even sitting in that energy, though, it gives them something. Having shared
Sure.
the experience, the group consciousness, they get something. But yes, that is why I like to keep galleries smaller, because I like to connect to everybody.
Well, I guess, they would at least get the knowledge that this is a real thing. This is a real
Right.
possibility.
Right.
So that's a validation as well, even if their person's not there.
Right.
They know that it's a possibility. But
And there could be so many reasons why their person isn't there. Maybe that person doesn't have the energy.
yep.
Maybe they're not comfortable in that setting coming through that way. Maybe they're angry. I don't know. It could be any number of reasons why someone doesn't come through.
Do you come across spirits that are angry with the people that they left?
Sometimes. And I find that more often than not, it's not because of what's happened in the past. It's more often than not about something that's happened currently, like someone's made a bad decision, someone's on a bad road, somebody's allowed themselves to be trapped in a disastrous relationship, and somebody on the other side is like, wake up, get out of this, fix
So
yourself.
it's the care.
Right.
Okay.
When there's anger, it's more often that I find.
I think that's interesting because we're led to believe, if you follow societal rules, that once you're done, then those emotions aren't part of it. But I've investigated places, even private homes, that had angry spirits who were like, these people are misusing my home, or these people, they didn't even care, about whatever. And it's weird when you recognize that they can still be angry. Usually it's about 2 times it's been about something in the home that was not being honored or taken care of.
Right.
And they felt like, you know, whatever. But I just find it interesting that part, because, we think of people, they passed, they're in heaven or not, and, they're cherubic wings that they flutter around on. And, that's like the religious side of afterlife.
Right.
And I have found that, if you were an ass in life, you're an ass in death. And, if you were wonderful and kind and loving in life, sometimes you'll still be that. Depends on what's going on with you in the afterlife, But
Right.
generally, are they the same people that they were before they died?
Often. And, when you say if they were an ass in life, they're an ass in death. I mean, so often those are the spirits people encounter in a place that will scare them out. People will run out of these places saying there's a demon in there. And it's not. It's someone who is just grouchy when they were alive.
Somebody that's just
Still
got that
grouchy.
personality.
Right.
And, I haven't been damaged, like, scratched up or anything like that. But I have had spirits. Well, like that night, that first night at the jail, I pissed off the whole jail. And it was really interesting because it got loud. And like you can actually, the cell doors and the first floor cell block, they're slamming shut. They're not moving, but they're banging. And it was very dramatic. And then I got mad. And it wasn't their energy that was making me mad. I'm like, why would you do this? But, I was just like, because I started messing with my computer and my electronics and stuff too. And then I was just like livid. But I know they were affecting it.
Right.
But it was still, leave my stuff alone. And so it's really interesting. Do you find that spirits can affect the living like that? It's not even, I wasn't channeling their anger, but my own was evolving because of their behavior. I was getting almost as mad as they were.
Oh, absolutely. I think our energy and a spirit's energy, they can charge each other. And if that's what they're carrying, well, they can charge us up that way. And it doesn't mean we're channeling them, but.
No, we were just sharing the anger.
Right.
I pissed them off, so they pissed me off. It was basically what it evolved into.
And I mean, that place, as you know, the energy is so strong that whatever you're stepping into, whether it's happiness, anger, you're going to feel it strongly.
It was bizarre. And people think that this stuff doesn't really happen. I can't tell you the number of people that I've spoken to who are skeptical that this is actually something that occurs. You see it all the time, don't you?
I do.
Yeah,
it's almost just another day at the office.
What is your favorite thing to do?
My favorite thing to do, well, I absolutely love filming for my channel, Crooked Path Paranormal. I absolutely love working with my buddy Noah, the other co-founder of Crooked Path. We have such a great time, and we've got some really amazing adventures coming up that are going to be coming to our channel. But my favorite overall is to just have a whole day that I set aside to be in my room at the Fairfield County Infirmary, whether it's getting work done or booking appointments. I'll have people come in and see me for hypnosis, for Reiki, for readings. If I don't have an appointment, I'll get up and I'll explore the building. It's just having a whole day to be in that building by myself, getting things done. That is one of my absolute favorite things. Recently, there were some inspectors in the building. So there was a wing that was not being used that day. And that happens to be the wing where my office is. So my first appointment is coming up, and it's like, well, where am I going to go for my first appointment? Let's go to the funeral parlor. We'll go down there. And then the second appointment comes up. It's like, change of scenery. I think we're going to use the morgue. It's like, that's the office for the day. And then it got
That's
really nice
fun.
outside. So the third appointment, it's like, let's go outside. Let's go to the cemetery.
How fun to have all those options, though.
Right. I think that's one of my favorite things to do. And if I'm there just working alone, I'll play music, and I rarely get to play what I want. So last year, when they had half the roof redone, there was a day I'd carried 42 bundles of roofing shingles up to the attic by myself.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
120 degrees in the attic. And I was just
Oh,
taking my time. I had music playing. I'm dancing around in the hallway. I'm singing to the spirits, just having fun. I had a playlist with like 1,600 songs in it on shuffle, and only one artist would play.
no
One
way.
artist. And I had to think this through. I'm like, how and why? I mean, this is a 200-year-old poor farm built in 1826. Why is the only thing you'll let me listen to is Pantera?
That's so funny.
It's
That's
like,
so
how?
funny.
But then I thought through it. In 1986, that building became the health department and child services. Somebody sat in their office in 1986
And listen to Pantera.
and listened to Pantera, and there's at least one ghost in that building that's like, yes.
I have music.
So yes, I think that's my favorite thing to do, to just hang out in the building and work and take appointments all day, because you just never know what's going to happen. And I never know where I'm going to end up. There'll be days where I'm just sitting there and all of a sudden it's like, how did somebody get in the building? There's somebody running upstairs. Or I'll have the door closed and all of a sudden there'll be a knock on the door.
That's fun.
It is fun. It's the best.
What is the strangest thing that they've done to you there?
The strangest thing that they've done to me there. Ooh, okay. Let me think about this for a second. I was sleeping there one night, and I was the only one in the building. I'd gone up to the room I like to sleep in, settled in on my cot. The door is closed and locked. That was yet another instance where there's a knock on the door, and I'm like, no, we're not doing this right now. You can come talk to me anytime I'm awake. This is my time. So the spirit in that room, who's an elderly woman, this is on the third floor women's side, teamed up with one of the younger child spirits. And the younger child spirit, it's like they both fed all their energy into him. So I could see him so clearly. It's like he just popped up from underneath my cot. 1 minute, I'm like half asleep. My eyes are half closed. And there he is, just standing there.
Oh gosh.
I almost went through the ceiling.
I
Scared me
bet.
to death. And now I'm just standing there with these two spirits that are laughing hysterically. They find this funny.
Well,
They're
of course.
amused by this. It's like, really?
Well, you knew they would be. Oh my gosh, that is them.
Well, and another really wild experience that happened there. So myself and one of my friends are sitting in the hallway of the third floor women's side during FCI Con. I was going to be sleeping in that same room down the hall again, and I've got the door closed, and I start hearing noises coming from the room.
Oh my.
I'm going to go down there and see what's going on. So I open the door, and my friend is still sitting in the hallway, several rooms down. I open the door, and I see Rena, the spirit in that room. She's got so much energy. She is just showing herself to me, sitting in the rocking chair. And I look at her, and I'm like, can I help you? And she responds to me. The person sitting down the hall is only hearing my half of the conversation. So imagine only hearing half of this. I say, can I help you? And she says, I'd like the door open. And I said, well, I've got the door closed for a number of reasons. One, I don't want people coming in this room. I've got my things in here. And two, I don't want bats flying in here during the night. I don't want to wake up with bats. And she says, but I like the door open. And I said, well, I know you also really like when I sleep in this room. So I guess you're going to have to make a decision. Which one of these things do you want more? And I look down the hall and my friend's just sitting there laughing, hearing half this conversation. And she says, well, I want both. And I'm like, all right, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to close the door. And if you can open it, I'll leave it open. She didn't. She didn't open the door.
That was a sneaky way to win.
One of my 3 books I'm writing is about my experiences in that building.
I can't wait.
Because
I'm going to enjoy that so much.
There have been some wild things. Like I'll find myself looking out a window and doing an action, like tapping my fingers on the glass. And I'll go, that's not me. What's that? And then all of a sudden I'm connected into a story from 80 years ago. And I'm now spending the next several months unraveling that story. So those things are in the book too. One of the books is all about my experiences there. And the third one is about some past life work I'm doing.
That's interesting. Are you doing your past life or are you helping other people with theirs and that's part of it?
The book is about my past life journey.
Oh, interesting.
And the story that's chronicled in that book really started to come through 1 year ago this week. It was when I was out here in Rockville at the Indiana State Sanatorium for the Covered Bridge Festival last year. Have you been to Billy Creek Village?
Not yet.
Do you know what Billy Creek is, though?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you have to get there. It's an incredible collection of historic buildings. Yes, it's haunted, but at the same time, just the land, it just brings me so much peace. So last year, a friend of mine asked me if I would go out there to the Civil War house with her to do a Civil War themed photo shoot. She's a Civil War reenactor, and she's also a photographer. So being a photographer means there's no pictures of her.
Exactly.
So she finds me some clothes. We go to do this photo shoot. I'm standing inside of the house and I'm thinking, I'm bent over, I'm tying my shoes, and I'm thinking, there's electricity coming up through the floor. So I finish tying the shoes and I stand up and I think, I'm taller. It wasn't I feel taller, it was I am taller.
Yeah.
So I walk across the house. I step outside onto the porch. My friend is sitting in a rocking chair and I look at her and I think, who am I looking at? Who is the woman in that chair? That is not my friend anymore.
Well,
so I close the door and step all the way out. And she turns her head, she looks at me, and she stands up and she leaves. She leaves. She comes back sometime later. She comes up to me and she says, I'm so sorry, but when I looked at you, I didn't see you. It was a different man standing there. So we got to spend 5 nights in that house uncovering that story. And it has been absolutely the most incredible adventure of my life. It's still unfolding. It's still unfolding in real time. I see right now that my hat's not straight. Since then, I've not been able to wear a hat straight. It's always crooked, as that's how he wore his hat.
interesting.
When I'm deeply connected into this, I suddenly become left-handed. I start eating with my left hand. I start writing with my left hand.
That's cool.
As time has gone on, I've encountered more people who were connected into that lifetime. And I mean, some of it's going to be unfolding in real time on our Crooked Path channel as well. We've continued some of that work there. His name was Ezekiel. And this experience affected me so profoundly that last year, when I left the Covered Bridge Festival, went home and bought a puppy in November, I named him Zeke.
Oh,
That's how little Zeke came to be, if you've seen his pictures.
I have, and that is so cool.
It's been the wildest adventure.
When she saw you, she saw him. When you saw her, you saw his counterpart.
Right. I saw his wife, Datura.
That's what I was going to ask. They were connected.
Oh, they were very much connected.
I mean, they always have been together, right? They're always going to be.
Right.
So,
and so many strange things have happened as a result of this experience. Like last year, I had to leave here a day early to go out to Paulding, to go out to the psychic fair. And people kept saying to me, they're not going to let you leave here. My damn car wouldn't start in the morning.
Oh, wow.
They were not going to let me leave here.
How did that make you feel?
I wasn't surprised. It actually felt right.
Right.
Because our last night in the house was gut-wrenching. It was so hard. It just felt right that they wouldn't let me leave. When I got out to the jail that next day, I walked in with an armload of things for my room. So I just kind of walked past everybody because I wanted to get upstairs and set everything down. And when I walked back down the stairs, someone looked at me and was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that was you. You didn't look like you.
Wow.
One of the psychics there, she'll be there at our event this coming weekend. She's a portrait artist. She came to me Sunday morning and she said, I woke up with a message from Spirit. I have to have a reading from you. Let's just do a trade. I'll do a portrait from you or for you. She didn't know me at all. She didn't know what the last 5 or 6 days of my life had been. What does she draw? She draws a Civil War soldier.
No way.
And his injuries in the last moments of his life.
Wow.
And even other strange things. The other person who's so deeply connected into this, she came out to FCI one night to surprise me. I didn't know she was coming. That was part of our agreement, is that we're going to find a way to be in the same space at least once a month so we can give them that space. So she comes out there to surprise me. I'm in my room. I just finished a reading. This young man is talking to me about how he's 22 years old and still doesn't drive a car. And then I see her walk up outside the room. My whole posture shifted. I felt my hand go up to turn the hat. And all of a sudden, the young man in front of me was no longer talking about why he doesn't drive a car. He randomly starts talking about Gettysburg.
No.
It's been one thing like that after another for the last year.
Have you looked? Do you know who he was?
I believe we've found graves of some of their children.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been digging on this hard. It's been just life-changing. There's moments where I'll start to respond to something on Facebook and it's like, oh, no, that's not you writing that. No, we're not going to do that.
Wow, really?
Well, a very specific incident of this. I was starting to write something and I stopped. I'm like, no, that's not you. Erase it. And then I start writing again, same thing. And at this point, I said out loud, "No, Zeke." And Puppy is sitting there next to me. He turns and looks like, "What?"
But I'm not doing anything. That's fun.
Sometimes I'll say something to Noah, the other founder of Crooked Path. I'll say something to him and I'll reference Zeke. And he'll say to me, "Are you talking about the puppy or your past life self?" And I think one of my favorites was the day I started a sentence with, "Yeah, Zeke shit on the floor today." And he's like, "Do you mean the puppy?" Or it's like, what?
Certainly hope it's the puppy. Because I'm not cleaning that up.
Oh, that's been the last
Oh
year
my
of my life.
gosh.
It's been so wild.
Well, but it sounds so fascinating. I mean, to have had the experiences that he had with the Civil War era of America. And does he show you all of the emotion that would go into becoming a military person in that era? I mean, do you feel the decision? Do you feel
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
And there's been so many things that have connected that I've even sat there and gone, "Oh, this is why I do this. This is why I feel this way. This is why I like this." It's like, it makes sense. There's so many things there that are still connected.
so this isn't just a random spirit. This is actually a past life.
I'm certain of it. I am absolutely certain of it.
That's got to be so cool. And
It's been unbelievable.
I can't imagine, truly, not being, hyperbolic or anything, but with the surprise factor of when you walked out that door, she wasn't her. And you weren't you, but she knew you.
And I don't even know what was more surprising. That moment I walked out the door and looked at her like, "Who is that?" Or the moment she stood up and walked away and left me there. I don't know what
Right?
was more surprising.
I mean, that's just the most bizarre.
Well, and
But
it's so funny because so many people have told me they go to investigate that house. Like for ISS Con, I was out there and we did a session in the Civil War house. And I was on my way out the door as another group was coming in. I ran into that group later on in the night and they came up to me and they said, "While you were there, did the name Zeke come through at all?" Like, well, let me
that's
tell you.
that's funny. That is so cool, though. I mean,
The other
with
really
all of
cool
them,
thing, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the other really
no,
cool thing about those 5 days in that house, when we'd go there at night, it would get into the 30s and 40s. It was freezing. For she and I, the two people who were really connecting into our past life selves, it was like the fireplace was on. We were warm. We were comfortable. We could have stayed there forever.
interesting. Now that is definitely another quirk factor.
Yeah,
That's so bizarre.
it's
So
so bizarre.
with I mean, because you have a lifetime of bizarre experiences,
Right.
okay? And obviously this is, because you said this is the most. But did anything prepare you? Was there anything that you had seen prior to this experience that allowed you to feel that this was even a possibility? Did you know of circumstances similar? Was there anything that
I have pretty extensive knowledge of a past life that goes back even farther than that. And I've been working through that bit by bit for some time. I didn't land in it like I did this one, though. I mean, I've never seen anything like that, where it's like you just open a door, step through, and you're there. That was so new to me.
Because your past mate was there.
I think that's a part of it. The fact that she and I were both there together and we were in that house. It was the energy of the Civil War era house. That house, I mean, all week long, I've been going out there every morning to sit on the porch, drink my coffee, and read the newspaper. I was saying to someone the other day, if I lived out here, I would go sit out there on a 30-degree, cold, snowy winter day. I'd sit on that porch and read that newspaper and drink my coffee.
That's very cool.
It brings me such peace. And in July, I was in Gettysburg for the Battlefield Bash. She was down there with me. That was an incredible week. Even though he wasn't at the Battle of Gettysburg, it was still like his week to run rampant and feral and free. He may or may not have learned how to use my credit card that week. He may or may not have bought a soldier's uniform and a painting.
Well, having been to several Battlefield Bashes and being a huge fan of them, I was not able to go this year. I was planning to, and that just fell through. But I could see him wanting those things.
Oh, absolutely.
The painting that he bought. What was that of?
A young boy looking out the window. And on the other side of the window, you see the barrel of the gun pointed up. And the title of the painting was Innocence Lost.
Yeah. There was a lot of that there.
Yes. I mean, just right from the inn. I stayed at the Tilly Pierce Inn. Most people got a room over at the hotel, and I was just like, no, I'm not coming here to stay at the conference center. I want something historic. I want an experience. Right. I mean, I walked up the stairs. That painting was there. I saw the for sale sign and instantly just took it off the wall, walked downstairs. We're buying this.
Right.
It was instant. Yeah, it was like his week to run rampant and free. It was so cool.
Well, Gettysburg has that effect in a lot of places.
I have a client who does Pilates sessions with me. He's in his 70s, older gentleman. Yeah. He always likes to ask me where I'm going next. And this summer, I'd said to him, I'm headed to Gettysburg this weekend. And he looked at me. And I said, are you okay? And he said, I'm going to ask you a really strange question. All right, let's see how strange this is really going to be. And he says, do you believe in past lives? And I said, probably more than anybody you'll ever meet. And he starts telling me of his first trip to Gettysburg and how he was on the battlefield and walked up to this tree and looked at it and thought, I died right here.
Wow.
And all he's wanted since is for his ashes to be scattered there when he passes. So when I was out at the battlefield, I took hundreds of pictures. And as I'm flipping through them, I look at one and I think, God, I've got to send this to him. And I sent him the picture. I'm like, I just thought you'd appreciate this. And he writes back almost instantly, that's my tree.
Wow.
It's a place where that much blood was shed. Realistically shouldn't be that beautiful, but it is. It's so beautiful.
And it's so peaceful.
It's so peaceful. I love it there.
You know, I do too. And I could stay on that battlefield for days. And the first time I went, some of the local investigators took me to Sachs Bridge. And the bridge wasn't where I was getting anything at all. It was, if you walk past the bridge, there's a open area, and that was when I had my first experience there, because I thought it was just a stand of trees, and I turned around and I was like, well, that's weird. There's no other, groups of trees here. And I was talking to my friend Robert, and he was like, there, look again. And there were no trees. He said, those were just soldiers standing around. It's okay. And so everybody's still continuing to talk. And I mean, because it was just like a little group gossip session there. And I keep seeing things like popping up and dropping down. And then they would move on. I thought they were rabbits, right?
Mhm.
Because rabbits will do that. And especially because they're nosy. But I said something else about, what about these rabbits? And he was like, there's not any rabbits because they're too big. You would see them. And I thought, well, the rest is kind of tall, I said, they're sentries. They're the people that come, and not sentries, but the go ahead people.
Right.
And he was like, they're just checking us out. And I thought, wow. Because in Gettysburg, the history truly does come to life. As I was driving in the first time, coming from Reagan, there's a White House right before you get to where you turn to go down where all the state places are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking down. I was like, oh, they're doing a reenactment. I didn't know that, it's late afternoon. Well, I looked back down and there wasn't anybody there. And I was like, I must be on the battlefield, because that whole area was the battlefield. But
Right.
that was my introduction to Gettysburg, was looking down and seeing soldiers milling around outside this house on the edge of the tree line.
I think with Jack's Bridge, you and I gravitated right to the same spot, because I went right past the bridge.
Yeah.
I think we
Isn't
went
that
to the same
wild?
spot.
And, I've heard at different visits, I've heard, boots marching by the
Mhm.
bridge down by the creek. And it's just unbelievable what is still there. And I used to feel like it was tragic that they were still there. But because I've been to parts where the battle initiated, where the actual clash started. And I can now imagine being those men. But prior to that, you have no idea what that would possibly feel like, right?
Right.
Until you feel them. And that's not something I anticipated being a deal. And I don't know how I don't have your skill set. And I can't fathom how, I know that you've had it your lifetime, so you've adjusted and you know how to protect yourself and be, aware.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you can prepare yourself for the sensations sometimes that come with what you do. Because I know that they show you what things feel like.
They do. They show me, and I do sometimes feel it very, very vividly. I mean, one such occurrence didn't occur on the battlefield, but I was shown so very clearly from a woman who'd lost a baby. Those were the sensations I was getting, losing this child, miscarrying this child. And I mean, obviously, I have no point of reference for that as a man. I'll never feel that physically in my body. I felt it that day, and it was horrific, absolutely horrific. I'll never forget it. But she needed me to experience that because it was so much a part of her story and what happened next. So whenever those things come through, I know they're not going to last forever, but in a way, there's a part of that I'll always carry with me. I'll never forget what that physical sensation was like.
It's just astounding. You know, the first time we spoke, it was fascinating. This, to me, is even more so because you're so open about things of that nature, and not everybody is. And like I said, I don't have anywhere near your skill set, or I do not want to see people in their death state. There are
Right.
things that I really fight to not experience because I think probably I could if I wanted to, but it scares me. I don't
Right.
like, I hate gore. I must have really been involved with a lot of gore at some point because I can't stand it. But even maybe gore, I don't. Yeah, my best friend is a stuntman and been in all these movies. He's been monsters, whatever. And I'm like, it's like, have you seen my? Nope, have not seen your movies. I can't watch that.
And I
And
live for those kind of movies. I love it.
yeah, I just, you know, I can't do it because that's why I think that probably I do have a lot of that in my background, you know, past life wise, because
Right.
it horrifies me, the inhumanity. What happens now? You know, I can't deal with man's inhumanity to man. It just blows my mind, and it literally will make me sick. And I think it's because I experienced a lot of that in past lives.
Right.
And so I opt not to expose myself to it. And it's not always easy to miss that. Right? But I put a lot of effort into it.
Right.
So,
Well, you do what you need to protect yourself.
yeah, because it is a protection thing.
Right.
Um,
No, when I reflect on it, the way I do my work really has changed so much since the first time you and I spoke. It really has. I mean, this year, the whole past life experience has just opened up all these new doors. And I mean, this was the year of me leading CE5 sessions. I never knew I'd go down that road. You know, this is the year of me
we need to
talking to
talk
the
about that next
Bigfoot. I
time.
never knew I'd go down that road. This has been a year.
You know, I was actually going to bring up this craft that is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because it's entered our solar system. Yeah, it came past Mars. We have so many satellites. We have all this equipment on Mars. We're not the only people with equipment up there. Not one photograph of that coming by Mars has been shared.
Right.
And, you know, they took them. You know, they're getting satellite imagery.
Oh, for
You know,
sure.
there's, you know, and it's being so downplayed. And I'm just like, oh, come on.
Right. That's very
No.
suspicious.
Oh, come on. I want to see what that looks like. And
I
then
know.
somebody posted an image that they ostensibly took with their, you know, super duper fancy wancy, you know, astral telescope picture.
Right.
And I have a really nice Dobson telescope, and I haven't been able to get that. So I'm just like, how did you get that? But it looks like when we lift off, and it has the group of um, exhaust, the fuel burn off
Right.
coming out. And I'm like, there's no way you got that. I'm a photographer. There's no way you got that. And so now I'm like, because that would be something like we would make. And I don't think that whatever this would be something we would make.
I agree.
I think the technology for the distance that it would have had to come would be very much more advanced than that. But do you ever get other species when you're experiencing things?
I believe so. And I think this is going to come out more and more in future episodes for my channel.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just going to say that the word Anunnaki keeps coming up over and over and over and over again from all different angles and all different places. So there's more of that coming in future episodes. We've got 7 or 8 or 9 locations filmed that we're putting out there in chronological order. So that is something that does keep coming up over and over again.
Well, I find it interesting that Anunnaki is the one that's coming through.
Right.
Because is that in past tense or is that in current tense?
Both, I believe.
Okay.
I truly do. I believe both.
Well,
This has become just such a focal point of mine within the last year. It's just this additional piece that was never there, and now it is. So.
Why do you think it's just turned up?
I think part of it is, I guess I'm ready for it now. Yeah. Now's the time. That's a thought that comes up over and over again too. Now is the time.
Yeah. Well, I think that it probably is the time for that because, all these people are like, oh, well, yeah, I'll believe it when they're on the White House lawn. Well, they've been over the White House because, that's not something that, that's a very public experience and it was covered very well.
Right.
So I don't think that's a reasonable way to go with that topic because, if do they really have to be in the lawn? What about the airspace? Battle of LA. That was a real thing.
Right.
There's so much that's documented very well. And, I've got, I've never really asked a friend who was a psychic, and you're kind of an extraordinary one, if they were in tune with that. And especially right now, because, if this is a craft that's coming, is it going to just come through like the previous one did? Right. Or is this coming to visit? They've already been here. So what would be the nature of the visit? That just is something fascinating to me because that energy, like for somebody like you, that energy would have to be so different from human energy, or would it?
Yes and no, because all at the same time, energy is energy. Mm-hmm. So yes and no.
Would you be able to tell intent?
I think so. I think you'd have to be really good at disguising it for me to not tell.
I think so too.
I mean, the CE5 session earlier this year was just such an incredible experience. So I was asked to lead a session without realizing I was being asked to lead a session.
That's had to be fun.
I thought my role was simply to play the singing bowls during the session. That's it.
Oh, dear.
So the night before, somebody says to me, so what are your plans for leading the session tomorrow? I'm like, oh, I'm playing the singing bowls. And they're like, yeah, what else? I'm like, what do you mean, what else? They're like, well, you're leading the session. I'm like, what? So I was up all night and I pulled together out of my ass this incredible guided meditation experience. I started by setting an intention for the group. I gave everybody the space to set their own personal intention. We did some breathing and relaxation exercises. We did some guided imagery. And then after the guided imagery, I was going to have everybody open their eyes and gaze to the sky. And that's when I was going to start to play the bowls. So before I started playing the bowls, I've got everybody on the ground. They're laying down, looking up. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to take one look up before I start to play the bowls. Because once I'm playing the bowls, I'm going to be walking and I'm going to trip over someone, step over someone if I'm looking up.
Yeah.
I take one look up and it was like a stage curtain. The clouds just went like that.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
oh, shit.
No doubt.
So I start playing the bowls and everybody's having this incredible experience. Things they're seeing in the sky, in their peripherals, in the woods, things we're hearing. I mean, there was this loud, metallic, ongoing noise that came and lasted for like 2 full minutes, just unbroken, uninterrupted. And we have no idea where it came from. There were people who live out there that have lived there for decades and have never heard anything like it. So they know it's not from the area. It was the most incredible experience. And afterward, one of the people who ran the event came up to me and said, "Where did you learn to do that?" It's like,
I just came up with it.
I sleep deprived myself. That's what I did.
And it worked.
But it was the coolest thing. And now it's become my obsession.
It will, because, oh my gosh, we're going to run it. You're going to have to come back so we can have this conversation because we only have less than 4 minutes left.
I would love to come back anytime.
Well, we'll do that conversation. We'll go full blown.
Yes.
Okay. And maybe by then they'll be here. Because this
That would
thing
be
seems to be
incredible.
moving at a fairly rapid pace.
Right.
So I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I think it's fascinating.
Oh, it is. It's so
And-
fascinating.
And I am so a UFO girl. So
I know. That's why I was so excited that my life has shifted this direction, that I was able to pull that in tonight. I was so excited that I've gone that direction with my work.
Well, I am too. And we will have a show about that and we'll schedule that.
That would be great.
You know, I just have tell people your website right quick where people can come and find you.
Crooked Path Paranormal. You can find us at our actual website, crookedpathparanormal.com. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. YouTube is where you can find our documentaries of our investigations, movie style documentaries. And you can also find our weekly podcast where sometimes we talk about ghosts. Sometimes we talk about extraterrestrials. Sometimes we just talk shit. Sometimes we're feral and unhinged.
Well, you know what? Feral and on Edge is fun.
It's the best.
And I like your shows. So I
Thank
will
you.
definitely say, go and check them out.
We do feral very well.
You do feral extremely well. So thank you so much for being here with me. You know, I enjoy you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
I enjoy
you.
you. I was so looking forward to this. I love talking to you.
I love it too. We'll have to do it more often.
Yes, we should.
Yep.
And we'll have to get out to the jail together.
Yes.
And we'll have to get out to Gettysburg together.
That is something I'm planning for next summer.
For sure.
Yeah. So we will do that. And I'm not planning on going out of the country, so I'll have money. So I can definitely do all the things.
Excellent.
And I am way, way overdue for getting to the jail. So I'll definitely see you there.
Excellent.
Because I love Shelley.
Me too.
She's one of the best people.
She is.
Yeah. And for everybody listening, thank you so much because, you know, this has been one of the more, this show has had a lot of movement. So
Yes,
it's been fantastic. I loved it. And, you know, y'all are the reason that we do this. So I hope that you come back and go check him out. And thanks again for being here. Thank you again for being here too. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So good night, everyone.
Good night.